everybody. Thanks for joining me for a event report from Salesforce Dreamforce 2015. As you can see, I'm still in San Francisco, sitting on Howard Street, where normally the cars drive along, and trying to record this under quite challenging conditions. First of all, bright light, so I keep my eyes open as I will try. Secondly, I'm using the Dreamforce Wi-Fi, and thirdly, there's some wind coming up and later. So I hope the audio is really good, and I'll try my best to work really hard on these things. So let's look at the top takeaways of this Dreamforce, which has been filled and busy 4 days with lots of events. I think 20 plus keynotes, every day multiple keynotes. The whole idea of the keynote has been made obsolete at Dreamforce because there's not keynotes, there's notes like major presentations the whole time going on. So the good news for us analysts was none of the keynotes really unveiled much really new things. And now we have the wind, so really hope Google Hangouts and YouTube's going to do the magic on the audio here. So I think overall the biggest thing for Salesforce customers is going to be the new Lightning UI, right? I've been criticizing Salesforce for quite some time for their more than pedestrian UI. Lots of scroll intensive, all the things you don't want to do. You want the eyes work and not the hands and the mouse work. So Lightning is a much more better, Lightning user experience. UI is a much more better user experience than that. It's 21st century, it looks lightweight, it uses HTML5, a significant progress using slider controls from left, right, consistent look and feel across devices, so major step. It's all coming in winter, and to give me the scope and breadth of Salesforce, I'm going to come to everything, but it's just going to come to the Sales Cloud predominantly at the beginning. New things like Analytics Cloud are building Lightning experience right away. Lightning experience correct maybe right away. The second most important thing probably is on the Lightning whole product family side, everything around end user enablement. So I'll share on my blog, which I'll write later, a picture where end users are building their first apps. And that's really powerful. My view will disrupt much of software as we know it, as we enable end users to build their own applications. This has happened already in the mobile space where lots of developers were building mobile applications for themselves, by themselves, and that market's kind of like gone with easy declarative tools like Lightning, Salesforce, and other vendors. So that's the biggest impact overall. Now on the technology looking forward, from a developer perspective, Salesforce App Cloud is really the key announcement here, where Salesforce really brings together the two things that were more than separate in the past between building things on top of Force.com and building things on top of Heroku. And that with a security mind aspect, being able to have your own customer keys, making sure that all these concerns in Europe and other places around security and the US Patriot Act and so are concerned. So that's a major step. And being able to deploy my Heroku applications on different cloud infrastructures, locations, is a very powerful thing. So the first multi-cloud path to deliver consistent applications across. So nobody gets it wrong. You could build applications across clouds and do things by hand around single sign-on, user controls, time it's being integrated. It will be very interesting to see. I don't think it's going to happen, but it will be very interesting to see if Salesforce is going to push that beyond Heroku, which runs on top of AWS, by the way. So next one was the IoT Cloud. I asked in a Q&A with Parker Harris and the head of development, Jean, I believe is the name for a gentleman from France, if it's not a misnomer, because the first false cloud effectively coming from Salesforce, right? All the other clouds, Sales Cloud, you can do sales in it. Marketing Cloud, you can do marketing in it, right? Apps Cloud, you can build apps on it. The IoT Cloud, you can't run IoT on top of it, right? Of course, I didn't like the comment for Salesforce doing a false cloud, but it's really an integration effort between the massive data on the IoT side, making that available for Salesforce users. And Parker Harris, good enough, given context for that, defended that, of course, it's not just listening to it, it's also creating profiles and then the actions and rules in that. And I agree, the rules editor is pretty nice on top of that, but I still can't run IoT on top of the Salesforce IoT Cloud. This is very different to all the other clouds in Salesforce. So sorry, Salesforce, you might not like it, but it's really false cloud. But it does a good job for itself. For Salesforce customers, it's of huge value, being able to make sense of IoT events and what they're using application-wise. But from a technology perspective, less than I would have hoped it could be. And Salesforce really needs a overall Hadoop strategy to be really a player to build native IoT applications. The interesting thing is how to be able to create actions there and make sense of that, but it's probably also the wrong perspective on doing IoT because of data gravity. So much data is there moving. The OVs of big data apply here for IoT. You probably have to move the code to the data, have to move all the business content, because most actions in IoT have to happen on a programmatic level, and you don't want to have an extraction making sense of it. The remarkable thing is that for the first time, Salesforce has opened how much open source they're using. They used open source in the past, but this whole using Kafka, using Storm, using Spark, is, I think, another sign that open source is really the platform to go, like everybody else. And I wish the Salesforce would be a little more aggressive. Important also, all of Thunder, the technology and the Salesforce IoT Cloud runs on top of AWS. So customers have the choice also when the data is in AWS anyway to look at other alternatives or running on top of IoT and then just potentially call Salesforce APIs. So not too convinced in what they've done. Lots of respect for, I think 40 billion events can be parsed in a day through the technology. That's pretty impressive, but still better. Second wave, better customers coming. So interesting aspects on an IT cloud. Analytics cloud, some progress, better visualization, better UI, bring together all the analytics pieces with reporting. It's a separate license, which I think for a software vendor makes sense as additional value. It's really not analytics, it's visualization. For that, it works really well. It's not close to real time. It's usually daily, which for most business users is actually enough. So it creates value and addresses the also relatively getting old reporting capabilities on site on the Salesforce side and bringing analytics closer to the actions with very similar rule-based capabilities like you see on the IoT side. That's the major takeaways. On the tidbit side, I mean, I mentioned the Lightning UI already. Also massive effort on the Trailhead side, right? To attract developers, you have to help them how to do things and how to create things. So that's a key aspect in that. So very good to see significant know-how dispersion, learning, touching things, getting to things on Trailhead. All of Moscone West on the developer floor was set up like a national park as people embark in their journey to go on the trail with Salesforce, with Heroku, and with Force.com. Nothing really on the future of work as last thought here. Salesforce acquired, and our name escapes me, this is all live. Toronto-based went on that, was all effort. Then this year it launched for Salesforce for HR. Didn't have a chance to play up on this, so I'll try to do that in follow-up. Overall, my point of view, good progress by Salesforce, creating value for their customers. If it's enough for them to be key for next generation application scenarios around social listening, just call it IoT Cloud, but social listening has to happen too. There's different tools there, but customers might do it themselves. Or on the IoT side, a little skeptic on that part. But hey, the glass can always be half full and half empty. I'm very positive on the UI piece of Lightning that really brings the user experience for Salesforce users positive. So that's ending on a positive note, my event report from Salesforce Dreamforce 2015. Thanks for watching and listening. This has been much, much longer than it should be. And I really, really hope that the audio is decent and good enough despite wind and a thrifty Dreamforce network. Thanks for watching. Speak to you soon. See you soon.